Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Prue with purefandom.com, and I'm here with my co-founder, Meg Bonnie. Hey, hey. And we are so excited to be here with the magician, Summer Bishil. Hello, Summer.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. For all of you watching, Summer will be doing virtual photo ops, live video chats, recorded video messages, and autographs this Saturday, November 21st. And to get you pumped for all of that, we are going to geek out with her for a little bit over this incredible show and even more amazing fandom. Meg actually recapped The Magicians and is our resident magicians experts. And so we would love to ask you just a couple little fun fan questions. We received a few on Twitter, so we're excited to chat with you.
Yay.
So I have to ask, because since we are going to be talking about your panel, so you did a virtual panel already. What was that like, and was it a lot different being virtual, or what can you tell us about that experience?
It is different just because, I mean, as a cast, we would do so many of those together as far as Comic Cons. Annually we would go to Comic Con and we would do these panels together, and it would be a sort of like group experience. And there would be, there's that aspect of being with your peers in person and the chemistry that, you have naturally in real life that you don't necessarily have um digitally, but you still kind of do also. Like, I mean, at this point we're all adjusting to Zoom and FaceTime and seeing our friends and our family through a digital lens and not really in person anymore. So it still had that like fun peer camaraderie, but obviously not as much as in person.
I bet. And speaking of the fans that tuned in to watch you and the ones that you're going to chat with on Saturday, they are so passionate just from what I see and being a fan myself. What can you tell us about being Margo and getting to see the fan reaction to that?
It was not something I expected. I actually was very prepared to not be liked, and I was okay with that. When I signed up, it was. I mean, this is going to be pretty revealing, but I'm just going to be honest. It was different times. Girls that looked like me traditionally were never going to pair with the hero of the story. It was always going to be probably not, it was more rare. And obviously things have changed in television. And I always thought that I would be sidelined in a way, and that being sidelined would lead to a more diminished role. And season one, where they were kind of sort of just introducing Margo, I definitely had my fears, and I knew I had, that was going to happen. That I didn't look like the traditional ingenue that you see in these stories. And my story was going to be different, and I had to really show and prove what I could do as a performer. I felt like whether that was really something I had to do or I just felt like that because of the times, and I had seen sort of how I had been cast and what I had been cast as, and what had been available to me at that point. And so I didn't want to have a limited 6 years. And so I worked really hard to make sure that I could show as much range as possible and value and contribute as much as I could with the limited material I had that year, to break out of any mold, any stereotype, any sort of typing of Margo and of myself, because I knew that this could be a long running show. And in the beginning she was really sort of unlikable, which was okay, but I did a lot of exploration on how to make it more interesting. So I didn't expect to be liked. I really didn't, because she wasn't written to be particularly liked in season one. And she made a lot of decisions that I think could have been very unlikable. But I just focused on making her as dimensional and human and real as possible. Because I think the closer you get to authenticity, the more people will relate and want to watch somebody. So I really focused on that. And I didn't really realize that she had become liked till long after season 2 had premiered. It was probably after season 2 was on Netflix that I was like, people like Margo? Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I thought everybody was really going to hate her. And I didn't think, and then I just kept getting more and more material. And it was like, oh, wow, these writers are really not putting me in a box, or definitely not the box that I thought that I was going to be put in or had been put in the past. And, you know, they continued to just grow this character into something that I could never have imagined, and gave me so much material that really, I mean, yeah, it was a show on sci-fi. It was a genre show. It's science fiction. It was fun. It was fantasy. But I think the themes that they wrote for all of the women on the show, especially, you know, I know kind of more about Fenn's story and my story because we worked more in the Fillory world together. But I think they wrote beautifully for their arcs overall, if you look at from where they begin to the end. And I think that writing and what Sarah and the writers and everybody tried to say through these female characters is really, could be really lasting, and was really different, and just not what I was expecting. Again, this was, like I was telling you guys earlier, 6 years ago, and people weren't having the conversations about diversity that they're having now. So no, I didn't. I did not anticipate it. Long story short, I hope I did talked way too much.
Oh no, we're here for
I'm
you,
here.
girl.
Okay.
Talk away.
Okay.
No, I think that's great, because that's what I mean, as viewers, as fans, like, we love to see growth, you know,
Yeah.
because to your point, like, we when we resonate with a character, like, we want to know there's hope for us to be a queen too, you know,
Yeah.
like, we want to be able to be redeemed. So I think
Or a
that's great.
king,
Or
like
a
Margo.
Or
Mhm.
king, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's another funny story about how I just had to start making all of these readjustments of thought with these writers, because these writers weren't interested in perpetuating, you know, these stereotypes that I had sort of had to live in and be contained in the industry. They weren't interested in that at all. And I was having to catch up kind of sometimes, because like I remember the episode where they made me king. I didn't know that it was going to be this big thread and that it should mean as much as and they were hoping it would mean. I was like, she just gets elected by a bear and it's ridiculous, ridiculous Margo. Like, what's this scene about? You know, because you're working 16 hours a day and you can't look at every scene like everything. And I sort of counted myself and my character out. I was like, there's no way they're going to give her something that meaningful. There's no way they're going to use me or my character as a vehicle for something that meaningful, and they did, and it was really meaningful to me, and it turned out to, you know, a lot of viewers as well. And I remember I had a conversation with David Reed, who had written that episode when we were on set. He was like, no, this is a big moment, because at first I was sort of playing it like comedically, more comedically. I was skewing comedic. I was skewing less of less gravitas, you know, less meaning to the situation. And he goes, no, this is a big moment. And then I made those adjustments, and I was constantly making those adjustments. It was like, oh.
I loved that entire arc with her becoming the king, and then you had mentioned earlier running in the desert with high heels on, like everything, that whole desert episode, like it was really cool to see her, and like you said, to think about the growth from season 1, where she's kind of selfish, doesn't really care about anything, to like saving a literal world in the end. So it was awesome.
Thank you.
And that's, I think, why everyone loves Margo, because it's like, okay, everyone has a chance to change, everyone has a chance to grow, and it was really fun to watch your character do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we're so excited that fans get to talk to you more and have conversations like this when they chat with you on Saturday. So yay, more geeking out for all.
Okay, awesome.
And before we wrap up, would you be able to share what's next for you? What's coming up? I know the world is still full
Yeah.
of all these uncertainties, but we'd love to hear what's next.
It's so funny. Like I was just on a show for so long, and I actually, when we wrapped, we didn't know what was going to happen with the show or not, and I took time out for me just because. So from like last year, we wrapped in like December to like I don't know, like May. I wasn't even really being that active. Like I took time. I do that a lot. I've done that a lot.
Good.
Yeah, and then COVID happened, and so you were kind of like forced to in a couple projects, like they disappeared, and that was a weird time. And so now I'm looking at material again, but it's so funny because it just goes back to what I said about diversity. It's like for the first time in my life, I'm not jumping at every audition or script that comes in. I'm like, I don't like that script. And then I know there's going to be like 10 more that I'm like able to audition for. It's just not limited anymore. And it's like now I'm trying to catch up to that as well. Like, oh, I don't have to audition for everything. And if I don't like it, I don't have to read for it, So nothing right now. But I know that I will find something, and I'm pretty excited about the future.
Well, we can't wait. We know that whatever comes next for you is going to be incredible. And we are so grateful for you being here today. And for everyone watching, don't forget that Summer will be doing virtual photo ops, live video chats, recorded video messages, and autographs this Saturday, November 21st. And thank you again, Summer.
Thank you. The most difficult scene was probably my scene in the tent in season 4 when she goes on her desert quest. Just like physically, that was probably the hardest, but it was also like the most rewarding. So that was cool. But physically, that whole episode was pretty hard. And then particularly that scene. But they didn't make me do it over and over again, which was cool. But I also wanted to do it over and over again. So. I was like, wait, I want another take.
Yeah. There was a moment, some stuff from the source material from the books. Like I know there was a scene with Julia and Elliot and Margo where they kind of like they're all at this bonfire, and even though there was a bonfire, it's a little bit different. It was like after a stint, it's sort of like losing their minds, and then they come and save her, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Witchy
That
bonfire.
would have been cool.
Out of rehab, remember that?
Yeah, get out of rehab.
You break Quentin out of corporate America. It's like actually, yeah, it's one of the best parts.
Yeah,
that was good.
That would have been cool. We got to do that. But yeah,
I wanted a sex scene too. I wanted just like a crazy sex scene. And I never
There weren't enough crazy sex scenes. Yeah, like just everybody, like all the members.
I didn't have no good sex scene.
What about that first one, the Les Mis sequence, One Day More?
That was so cool. Moxley, our costume designer, built this awesome blue like ensemble, and I was like, I don't need pantyhose. I have thigh-high boots, and there was like a crazy wind chill, and like I was just so angry about how cold I was that I just channeled it into my performance.
Josh, you had a whole. I mean, I keep calling you Josh. My gosh, I know and I love you.
It's okay. That happens a lot. No, that happens. I have the face for it. It's okay. I'm Josh. It's fine. Yeah. No, I got really lucky with having that episode come at a very like I've never really talked about this, so why not share it with like a bunch of random fans online and you people right now. That episode, so there's like episodes off for some of our characters. We only are allowed to do a certain minimum, and I was off 2 or 3 episodes consecutively at that time. My dad happened to pass away during that time, and the first bit of work and I really wanted to get back to work, and I really wanted and everything's okay. I'm not bringing that up in a sad way. I'm bringing it up at how nice working with people that you consider family can be, and like the gifts that jobs have. The first episode that I had back was a musical episode called All That Josh. At a time that I needed like the biggest distraction of my life, It was an episode that was centered around my character, and it was a musical where you have to sing and dance.
Yeah.
So, I was in this mourning process, but I couldn't have been happier that I had this gift, and the writers knew. And I spoke to John about it just recently, and he mentioned on another Comic-Con panel that him and Sarah both lost their dads at an early age, or lost their parents at a very untimely time, and we never talked about that. But it was this certain sense of them being there for me, and I can't believe at how amazing our show pulls off the commitment level that a musical episode takes, and we do it within the same amount of time that every episode has. So it's a really cool feat to be able to say that we pull these things off, but also the musicals are an emotional thing for us. We really commit everything to it, and I couldn't be happier that we had the opportunity to do that stuff. So that's my personal experience with it, and I've never really told anybody about that, but it was a nice moment for me.
One thing that you can say here on camera that you took from set home with you as a memento for the show.
I stole it all.
What was it, Summer?
I stole it all. I got my crown. I got my axes. I got my whole wardrobe. Got it all in my car. Oh, I can show you all the stuff I stole. Wait, no.
Go get it while we talk to everyone else, Summer.
They're coming after you. Once this quarantine's done, they are going to knock down your door.
I got my welter's outfit. I stole it.
Oh, I love the Welter's outfit.
You heard it here, folks.
I only stole my Alice dress, like my classic Alice dress, because that one is iconic to me. I would love to burn my Niffin dress because I wore it for an entire season. And anybody, you guys know, you have to wear those outfits for like 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. So that was brutal. Yeah, I want to fucking burn that dress, but it looked great. I just can't.
I always think about that with Penny and his suit for when he's in that suit like nonstop for oh my gosh. Anyone else?
Smell bad.
Yeah.
They've actually packed up the physical kids cottage. I still want to claim items from that.
Mm-hmm.
If it isn't all said and done, who knows? We have to talk to Matthew probably about that.
No one has the Tada sign, right? People are asking specifically about the Tada sign.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
They're not going to give us that.
Super shout out to our costume department and set decorating team. I mean, they really, the way they turn around things, like they're making suits hours before we wear them, and it was just super impressive. I mean, at some point the alterations were like really up to the day. I remember the only thing I could say is that Fillory notoriously doesn't have pockets in their pants. And I don't know what came over me, but I decided to make not a medium-sized stink that I'm a pocket actor, that I like to put my hands in my pockets because I need a place to put them. And sure enough, the next day, the costume department made me pockets in all my Fillory pants. It was the best thing ever.
Wow.
That's my little shout out. I didn't even get to steal those pockets, but I would if I could. Summer, maybe you could steal them for me. Somehow you are the ninja.
Now I'm gonna get busted.
Yeah, you are. That's for sure.
Summer,
And it makes you feel better. I wanted to steal the little thing that Benedict wears as a pin. The original one got lost, and so when I got back, they had made one, and it had like the tree from the Moonchuck inside of it, and it was really cool. And I was like, "Oh my god, can I keep this when we're done?" And they're like, "Yeah, when we wrap." And I was like, "Okay." And I never got it. Now that's my.
You should just check Summer's house. Just check Summer's apartment.
Summer, I think
that's probably
okay.
yeah.
I got it all. Selling it